back to the beginning. You're telling me I could do all 100 days over again? What kind of maniac do you think I am? You think I'm gonna go and play this game 100 times to get 100 different endings?
Intruder alert! Intruder alert!
I will protect Last Defense Academy! Strike!
Oh my god, it's open. Guys, it's been quite the journey so far. But dare I say it, we're at the end game now.
Strictly speaking, neither of us are time travelers in the way you think we are.
Even got an achievement for unlocking a story route. This is the last route standing. Apart from mystery, but even that's so close to the finish line, our year-long journey has come to this. The route where we're some kind of time-traveling guardians, or time-traveling trolls. Given what we've seen in the other routes, it's finally time to get some answers as to just what the hell we've been up to in these leap suits. I managed to bring myself up to speed, having replayed the first 10 days since. Funnily enough, this was basically the first route we ever landed on until I got presumptuous and tried to kiss Hiruko that fateful night. So, if you need to catch up, head on back to episodes 39 through to 42, and episode 50 on top of that.
This isn't a matter of us leaping back in time. It's more that we're trapped in a time loop.
Yeah.
That goes for me, and you too. You're the same as me, Takumi.
Some idiot keeps controlling you and using this flowchart to jump between routes, trying to get all 100 endings.
You're not a time traveler. You're a time looper.
The moment I heard those words, my head seemed to fill with a blindingly bright light, and then... Oh! Memories of our other routes! Look at all these CGs! I can't believe they stole my idea. I did that first. I did the whole run through all the thumbnails we've been through. And now I'm just starting this route, and look what happens. The next thing I knew, I was back in my room, lying on my bed. Hiruko was there with me.
You promised me you wouldn't let the truth destroy you.
What day is it? Don't tell me it's like day 98. And this was just like the shortest route of all time.
And yet, you fainted the moment you heard it. What are you? A salmon roe?
What do you mean by that?
You're soft and squishy and fall apart when the heat is on.
I mean, our last memory was of you kissing me, so that'll knock any guy out. She had a point. I hauled myself up and got to my feet. Sunlight was streaming in through the window. I must have been lying there all night. I remembered about the other times I've lived through these 100 days. Do you remember people in leap suits going through those other scenarios then? About what happened in those other... I guess we should call them timelines?
Oh?
But not all of them, right? Yeah. It's all a little fragmented.
Oh.
How many did you remember? 10, 20, more than that? No. Not even that many. You're still just a beginner. I mean, we only needed 4 endings, and 2 of them were from one route, and 2 of them were from another, right? So, yeah, I guess we're still just a noob. A beginner. Come with me. Where are we going this time? You wanted to hear the whole truth, didn't you? It's not something I can talk about here, in the privacy of your room. Eita may be under the bed. True. Hiruko left the room. Still feeling a little clueless. I followed her. What, are we gonna drive the bus and go on a road trip? We should be safe in here. First, I want to hear what you know. Which TLs did you remember? And how much do you remember about them? Well, the very first one that I remembered was a gender-bent version of me as a ghost, strangling me. TLs? That's the abbreviation for timeline I've been using in my head. We can use the full version if you want. I'm not really sure. how to explain which ones I remembered, though.
Oh?
Any key points or characteristics will do. Okay, but honestly, I don't feel good about this. Too many of the timelines I remember ended in tragedy. So many of our friends died in those alternate realities. They were murdered. Killed in ways so gruesome and cruel that I didn't even want to say them out loud. Well, fuck one route, everyone was a zombie! It hurt just to think about them. I started to think I'd have been better off never remembering it at all. On the other hand, I warned you. Once you know the truth, there's no going back. But you said you could handle it. You promised not to let it destroy you. I did say that. Now I had to stand by it. In spite of the pain it caused me, I began to speak. Okay, here goes. Slowly, hesitantly, I told Hiruko what I remembered about the other timelines. Sorry, the TLs. The Gi parasites. The series of murders caused by them. The exorcism rituals I held with Gaku. This was one of the required endings, too, if I recall correctly. Getting into the escape pod with Hiruko and Tsubasa and setting off for the satellite. There was another timeline with a serial killer in it, too. Except that time it turned out to be Yugamu. Wait, Yugamu? Yugamu was the killer? No. You know that's not true. I felt a sudden jolt of pain in my head. My memories must have been getting mixed up. Are you alright? Yeah, I think so. I squeezed Hiruko's hand to reassure her and carried on. I told her about another timeline, where zombies started appearing. We tried using Yugamu as bait first. But even after that, our friends kept dying and coming back as zombies. God damn, I always love how Kako looks at these. She always looks like such a real predator. And then you got Moko in the back there. In the end, I got caught by them too, and... yeah. Ah! Terrifying. Wait a minute. Did I become a zombie in that timeline as well? Yes, you didn't stand a chance. Yeah, you were killed on day 58. Who's the rookie now? I think I remember that. The zombie Ato attacked me from behind. But after that, there's nothing. I guess you wouldn't remember being a zombie, huh? Of course not. By that point, I wasn't me anymore. I think we established, though, that you kinda are still you, you're just no longer in control, you're a prisoner in your own body, more or less. Ugh. Scary. We'll talk more about that timeline later. Tell me about the others. I nodded. There's not much to tell. There's just one more I can remember. The one that started with Gaku being killed. Then Kaku's body was found. She'd been poisoned. A mystery. After some investigation, we figured out that it was Shoma who killed Kaku. But then he was found dead too. Killed by Ava. You know about Ava, right? You don't have to check in with me like that. I'm not an idiot. Assume I know everything besides what happened while I was zombified. That's an exception to the rule. Okay. Well, Ava activated her self-destruct device and died too. But that still wasn't the end of it. The killings continue. Next to go was Tsubasa, then Moko. Then Kurata was found strangled in the secret room in the school's basement. That's all I know. Shoma and Ava both mentioned a mastermind called X, but we never figured out who that was. And then we got K, who released Ato. It was probably them who killed Gaku, Tsubasa, Moko, and Kurata, though. Hiruko pushed her glasses up and directed a piercing glare at me. Is that really everything? Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm trying my best to remember things. I've been through a lot more than that, though. She stared into space for a while, her expression unreadable. She was clearly thinking hard. But about what, I had no idea. I mean, there's a killing game, but you didn't last long in that one either. Finally, she spoke. I take back what I said before. You're not a salmon roe. Your mind has a tempered steel shell that can shrug off any attack. What does that even mean? Don't worry about it. You'll understand soon enough. Okay. Cool.
Huh?
Why do we keep moving around? To throw off anyone who might be trying to eavesdrop on us. Is someone really doing that? Probably not. But it pays to be careful. I mean, she's been through the ringer just as much as we have. Anything's possible. So going from place to place is safer than staying put and going through the whole story? Hiruko nodded.
Oh.
I suppose it's my turn. Ask me anything. Apart from my credit card information. I mean, I don't think the shops here take credit. Okay, well, first of all, I want to know about your memories. When did you start remembering other timelines? Do you remember what happened on day 3? That's when you decided to keep it a secret that you'd come from the future.
Oh.
And you made up the story about reading Ato's diary to explain how you knew what he was up to. Yeah, it wasn't the greatest lie ever told, I gotta say. My memories returned right after that. Although I don't remember everything either. So far, I've only managed to recall 146 timelines. So far? That's more than I've even done! She's got the DLC routes in her mind, too! 146? What is this, Pokemon? Yes. I've been through at least 146 loops. And most of them made it to day 100. Except the zombie one. Doing the math, that's 14,600 days divided by 365. That makes 40. I've been living at this school, in this loop, for at least 40 years. Holy shit. I've been here for one. 40 years, 14,600 days. It was hard to even wrap my head around that length of time. It was making my brain freeze up. I just stood there, completely dumbfounded. Like my normal stance.
Oh.
And that's only the bare minimum. Accounting for loops I haven't remembered yet, the real number is probably even bigger. This is only speculation, but I think something similar is going on with you. There's a good chance you've lived through these 100 days just as much as I have. At least 146 loops, or 40 years. It's all happened, you've just forgotten about it. How does it work exactly, though? You're not time traveling, you're time looping. That's completely different. We deliberately time traveled, but Hiruko, on the other hand, she's remembering, quote unquote, other routes that have happened. We changed locations again. I was still dazed and confused, so Hiruko picked up the conversation without any prompting. Across those 146 loops. Lots of different things have happened, obviously. But apart from a few exceptions, the enemy attacks always occur on the same days.
Oh.
That's why I insisted we go to Second to Last Defense Academy on day 6. Day 7 would have been too late. That's when Mervrim attacked the school. And because we're too slow about it, Narumi gets killed.
Oh.
Likewise on day 8. There would have been attacks on both academies. If that had happened, somebody would be sure to die. Sorry, day 8 is when we were too slow to come back and save Dorumi. Getting the entire special defense unit together by day 6 was the only way to prevent that. Did you tell Sire and you all this? Yes, including the part about me being a time looper. Which is why they are all too happy to defer to her when it comes to the intel and making some decisions. But what did he give Hiruko again? When he met with her on, was it like day 4? It's all starting to add up now. That's how those two suddenly knew when the attacks would happen. Why didn't you tell me about the loop? You told Sire and Nigu, but not me? I did tell you. I've told you and the others so many times in so many timelines. But things always played out in the worst possible ways when I did.
Oh.
All of you died, and I was the only one left standing. It's happened like that dozens of times. For some reason, telling people the truth only takes us down dark, chaotic paths. Yeah, well, same with killing Ato, it seems. It's like we're cursed, never able to escape our fate or change it for the better. I don't want to watch you all die anymore. So I stayed quiet about it. I thought if I didn't tell anyone, then maybe. But you're telling me about it now. Is that okay? You're the one who kept asking. You just wouldn't let it go. I guess that's true, my bad. Hiruko drew in a deep breath and exhaled. She repeated that process a couple of times until she regained her usual composure. It's all right. That's not the only reason I decided to tell you. I have a feeling that this timeline might be different. Yeah, how many times have you thought that?
Oh.
I've got no concrete grounds for thinking that, but... Hiruko reached into her pocket. She brought out the calico cat figure I'd given her yesterday and squeezed it tenderly. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Yeah, she's a real Halara nightmare, huh? She put the cat back in her pocket and said no more. You put the cat back in the pocket, but you can't put the cat back in the bag. This explains a lot, but I still don't understand how we got stuck in this time loop in the first place.
Oh.
Before we get into that, let me tell you some more about the loop itself. It begins on our second day here. More specifically, the night of day 2, right before Ato destroys Sire. So basically, I caused this time loop by coming back in time in the first place. When the time loop resets, that's always the point in time that we return to.
Huh?
And when does it reset?
Huh.
It depends. There are 2 possibilities. Either when we die, or at 10 a.m. on day 100. Wow. Very specific. I mean, that's when I went back in time. Presumably. Right? During Route 0. And it's also just when the game ends, okay? Day 100. 10 a.m.
Huh.
Yes. Right around the time the school launches its final attack. For whatever reason, even if we make it to the end, we still can't escape this place. But we escaped on the escape pod in my other timeline that I remembered. When it gets to 10 o'clock, we'll be forced back to day 2 to do it all again. You said you remembered a timeline where we managed to get into the escape pod, yes? Oh. But do you remember anything from after that? No. Game kind of just rolls credits. I remember taking off with the satellite and watching the final attack through the window. You have that glum expression on your face. There's the cutscene. Looks like the 4th of July out here. Neutron gets annihilated. As so. And then what? I go back to the main menu, but there's nothing after that.
Tuh.
You see, you don't have any memories of us actually reaching the artificial satellite. Neither do I. Well, technically it wasn't day 100, but we did raid the satellite when I ran my own cult. We should remember that timeline. You should remember what you did. Oh, you gave me the most wonderful massage.
Tuh.
Before we can get there, our consciousnesses are pulled back.
Huh?
And we start again from day 2. So all we gotta do is reach the artificial satellite on like day 40, which is what we did in Cult of Tsukun. Hiruko nodded. But is this really all true? Somehow I have a distant memory of days beyond day 100. Oh yeah, what about Rebellion Route? It was like years! And then we became, we arranged for peace, finally,
Oh.
when we aligned ourselves with Ava's daughter. I know I said things turned back in the loop on day 100 at 10 a.m., but that's no more than an educated guess. It could end up being slightly earlier, or later, or in some situations, much later. Kind of depends on the rider of the route, I suppose. We gave them free rein. But even so, it doesn't change the fact that we'll be brought back to the evening of day 2 at some point.
Oh.
Think about it. If you continue to exist in a timeline after day 100, into old age, how could you possibly retain those memories from after day 100 in the here and now? You're right. If we weren't caught in this loop, I wouldn't be able to remember any of that time. I must have gone back to day 2 even in those longer timelines. That's why I could only vaguely remember them. Yeah, don't get me started on the conspiracy route.
Oh.
But going beyond day 100 is an extremely rare, anomalous event. It's probably safe to say that, in general, the loop turns back on itself on day 100 at 10 a.m. A lot of ones and zeros. When I arrived back in the past, I didn't have any memories from other timelines. Was it the same for you, Hiruko? I told you already, didn't I? My memories started returning on day 3. We forget everything the moment we're returned to the start of the loop. In some cases, like right now, we suddenly remember them again. I have no idea what causes it, or if there's any kind of rule governing the process. That is weird. Especially since I still remember my first timeline when I go back to day 2. That's probably because of your cryptoglobin. What do you mean? The first timeline we experienced. I'll just call it the first cycle to make things easier. During that cycle, you absorbed Ato's power. But not just his.
When I was killed by Ato, all of my cryptoglobin was incorporated into him.
That it was.
And now, by way of Ato, that cryptoglobin resides in you.
I messed it all up for us, didn't I? On the 100th day of the first cycle, you had that ghost boy's power inside you. That made you strong enough to retain your memories when you traveled back in time. Wait a minute. What, so the time loop and cryptoglobin are related somehow?
Oh.
It only stands to reason. Think about it. What's your specialist skill? Special redo. The power to try things again.
Oh.
See? It all adds up. But what about you? Your special discipline skill is totally different from mine. You know how some people are really good at multiple subjects? Like history and math. It's the same principle. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's just chalk up to that. What, so you've got the power to redo things as well? I do. Well, it didn't work during the first cycle, where you got killed mercilessly by Ato and Bit. Then why haven't I ever seen you do it before? Technically, I've never seen you redo something either. Touché. The effects of skills that alter the flow of time are only visible to their user. Neither of us can tell when the other uses this skill, or what changes when they do. Does that mean there are defensive battles we've only won thanks to you redoing stuff? I've lived through this loop 146 times. Don't underestimate what I can do. Okay. But again, you've still died. Sometimes early on in the piece. Okay, I think I get that the time loop is somehow caused by our specialist skills. But there's still something I don't understand. At the end of the first cycle, I wanted to change things more than anything. That's how I was able to go back to the night of day 2. But why does it keep happening in the other timelines? Why does dying or making it to 10 a.m. on day 100 pull us back to that same point? I don't know, but I have a theory. It's because that initial jump back in time was the trigger. Yeah. Damn it! It's all my fault. Think of spinning tops, you know, like in the movie Inception. They'd never stop spinning if it wasn't for friction. The same goes for things like pendulums or springs going downstairs. You know, have you heard of Archimedes? In a situation where there was no resistance, all it would take is one little push, and they'd keep moving forever. Forever. That's right. I'm the pendulum, swinging around. Does that mean we're going to be stuck in this loop forever? Oh god. Time to crash out. There must be a way to break out of it. There has to be. What is it? Do you think I'd have put up with that idiotic face of yours for over 14,000 days if I knew? So, we don't know how to escape? Not right now, at least, but...
Ah,
But what? But this is the one. This is the time, and I'm feeling it this time. You know, when you're playing a ranked match and you're on your promo, yeah, this is the one. This is the... I'm finally gonna break through that glass ceiling. This is... a first for me.
ah.
Oh.
The timeline we're currently in is different from the others I remember. We've made it to day 11 without a single member of our team dying. In all 146 loops, that's never happened before. This timeline must be special somehow. True. A lot of the other timelines, Dorumi dies on, what, day 8? Or 9? Since we get back to the Lost Fits Academy on day 9. And if not that, well, Eito ends up dead. Because we kill him on night 2. The only exception, I guess, is romance, but technically, Hiruko and I both died because she pushed me off the fucking roof. Is that necessarily a good thing, though? If neither of us have experienced a timeline like this before, we won't be able to predict what's going to happen. Yes, but we should be able to branch off of this timeline, right? If things go wrong. That's true. Aside from when the enemy attacks occur, that is. We've got like 12 endings left, right? And I'm pretty sure I've got like 2 at least in the mystery route, maybe 3 that I haven't unlocked. There's every possibility that there's another 6 endings tied to that, but that also seems to mean that this route has multiple endings as well. But this could be our chance to finally escape the loop. All the other timelines have ended in tragedy, one way or another. But this one could be different. The fact that we don't know what's coming means there's still untapped possibilities. Hiruko's eyes were sparkling. I've never seen her this excited. Do you remember what I told you on the night of the 3rd day?
Oh.
About not killing Eito and keeping your time travel secret from the others. I said they were probably the right choices. Because those choices are what created this timeline, where we finally have a chance to change things? Exactly. So then my coming from the future, and the time loop. If we want to preserve this timeline's integrity, it's best that we don't tell the others. There's a good chance things will develop the way they did in the other timelines if we do. And then it turns out that like at least 3 of them were listening this entire time, following us around the school. And now they've heard our entire plan. There was still plenty I didn't understand about this time loop thing, but I had a pretty good grasp on the basics. Felt like Hiruko had told me everything she knew about it anyway. But there were other questions I needed answers to. What was it that Siri had handed Hiruko that day in the war room? What was with that old lab in the ruins? What was parallel leaping? Why was Eito still alive when I saw his dead body before? Why did he want 100 balloons? Why did Hiruko try to strangle me that time in the infirmary? Who was in the drone she put into the revival-matic? And perhaps strangest of all, why was she crying when I saw her on the roof at the end of day 9? But just as I was about to ask her, that should do it for today. That's a lot of exposition. It's like at least 25 minutes. Huh?
Oh.
You need time to process all this information. We can pick up this conversation again tomorrow. In the meantime, have like 5 free times or something. No, I'm fine, really. But Hiruko wouldn't listen. She turned around and headed back toward the school, refusing to say any more. Oh man, why is she always like this? I thought we were finally going to be partners. Damn it. And it's only day 11. Good God. This is going to be another lengthy route, but you know what? I'm here for it. With not much else to do, I went back to my room. Thinking about all those mysteries wouldn't do me a lot of good now. Not to mention, we'll still have plenty of battles to fight from here on. I need to keep building up my bonds with the rest of the team so we'll be ready for those challenges. Even though, you know, having come this far, you'd think that I have completed that task by now. Maybe we'll take a look around and see what everyone's doing, or how everyone's doing. Nice to see that free time's still a thing. Hiruko said we'd talk more tomorrow. She's finally started telling me stuff, so I don't think she's about to go back on that promise now. I had no choice but to trust her. I crawled into bed and let myself drift off, wondering what revelations tomorrow would bring. This is our meta route, which makes me think that Uchikoshi is responsible for this one. If I had to guess. I mean, I don't know for sure. Okay. Hiruko called on me after breakfast. She told me to meet her in the entrance hall. And it looks like she's already here.
Huh?
Are we exploring outside today? Don't you want to hear the rest of my story? Yeah, of course. Then don't ask questions and follow me. Don't forget your fire extinguisher. Hiruko walked away at a brisk pace. I grabbed an extinguisher and hurried after her. Let's go! Out into the wild. So where are we going?
Oh?
Why are you always so dense? I know what you want to ask me. We're going to the one place where I can properly explain things. You mean that old lab?
Oh.
Better than giving you a lobotomy. Fuck. That was a joke. Please laugh. Yeah, I didn't think she was being serious. It was just so weird to hear Hiruko joke about anything. Now stop wasting time with your nonsense and let's get going. Okay, yeah, there we go. She's back. Nonsense? I didn't even say anything. She's talking to me through the freaking monitor. But Hiruko was already on the move, too far away to hear any protest I might voice. Sheesh. I muttered my complaints to the air instead and followed after. Oh, she didn't have to do me like that. Referring to me, past the fourth wall. On the way to the lab, I filled Hiruko in on what happened in the timeline with the zombie outbreak. Yeah, and then there was this one timeline where Kurata was a real badass and just killed everyone without a tomato mask on. Like she told me yesterday. She didn't have any memories of the second half of that timeline. It was kind of like, well, I died, so I didn't really give a shit about what happened afterwards. Or more accurately, of anything that happened after she was zombified. Yeah. Not my finest hour. Damn Gee. I like how we go through these greatest hits of C. There were a lot of cool CGs in that route, I gotta say. Given that we had a comedy route and a romance route, I'm surprised slasher route wasn't called horror route. I understand, like, slasher's obviously a genre of horror, but like we had slashers and then we had zombies, so I think horror would have been more appropriate. It's just like I thought. Those zombies were created by the Gi parasites. It all began with the Alpha 1 and Alpha 2 specimens Darumi and Gaku brought back. Alpha 2 was already in its male spawning phase. It laid its eggs in the bodies of our dead friends, but what was it doing at that base? Including me?
Oh?
Then those eggs hatched into male Gi and burrowed into the corpse's brains, temporarily reanimating them.
Uh-huh.
That also explains one of the biggest mysteries around here. It does? Which one?
Oh?
You're better off not knowing. But I know you'll only keep pestering me about it, so I'll tell you later. Okay. I'll be a good Boy Scout. When we arrived at the lab, Hiruko dispelled her class armor. I did the same. Why did we change back into our regular clothes? You can't put on a leap suit while wearing class armor. Doesn't gel with hemoanima. I don't think we'll actually need the suits this time, but it's just force of habit. Oh, we're not traveling?
Huh?
Why don't they work if you've got class armor on? Leap suits have the ability to repel hemoanima. They're not affected by attacks from class weapons. If you tried to put one on in class armor, the two surfaces would refuse to touch each other, like magnets with the same polarities. Why, doing a parallel leap without one of those suits is a bad idea, right? What do you think? You did it on, like, night 4.
Oh?
You shouldn't need to ask me that. You've already experienced leap damage firsthand. Leap what? Leap damage is what happens if you parallel leap without a leap suit. Come on, it's pretty self-explanatory stuff. You've mentioned this leaping stuff a couple of times now. What does it mean? That's what I brought you here to explain. Are you familiar with the concept of parallel universes? This is such an Uchikoshi coded line. Are you familiar with insert scientific term here? Or, you know, quantum physics? Yeah, Ito told me about them in the first cycle. They're basically alternate realities, right? Are you saying the different timelines we've experienced are the same thing? Exactly. If it helps, you can think of parallel universes as the worlds of other timelines. So parallel leaping is...
Oh?
just like the name implies. It's the process of traveling or leaping to a parallel universe.
Huh?
Leaping kind of implies we're going pretty far. People call trips through time leaps sometimes, right? Is it anything like that? No, the direction is completely different. Well, what? Why? Like, how did this MacGuffin kind of just like get created in this lab and exist? A time leap means moving forward or back in time. A parallel leap is more like horizontal movement. Right. When we parallel leap into another timeline, we'll be going to day 12 of that said timeline. Or like changing trains to ride a different line. We can't use Uchikoshi coded chart. We can't use parallel leaps to go back to the past or forward to the future. But we can use special redo. Instead, we move to the same place and the same point in time, but on a different timeline. Take a look at this diagram. Let's say we leap from timeline A at 1:01 a.m. We'd arrive in timeline B at the same time, 1:01 a.m.
Oh.
Essentially, our coordinates and time don't change. Only the world that we inhabit. There's another difference, too. A time leap would be like your journey back after the first cycle. Only your consciousness was affected. It's not like you got into a time machine and physically went back in time. That's not the case with parallel leaps. When we leap, our bodies are traveling to those alternate realities. Right, which is how you basically disposed of Kako in the Box of Calamity route. I believe it was. And the thing that makes that possible is this. The PLM.
Oh.
You probably guessed from the PL part, but it stands for Parallel Leap Machine. Wait a minute. You mean that night, just after midnight on day 5, we leapt to another timeline?
Oh.
You only just figured that out? You really are slow sometimes. Where did we go, though? Which timeline was it? In answer to my question, Hiruko took out a handheld device and showed me the screen. The hell is this? It looks like the flowchart that I can only access through the pause menu.
Oh.
A map of the different timelines, based on the machine's data. The timeline we went to that night was... Hunt Mystery. What? Oh. Hunt Mystery. As in, either Invader Hunt or Mystery? Can I see? Like, all the way up here, right? Day 5 was here. And then this splits off into... Oh, never mind. Slasher or comedy? Yeah, then it's definitely killing game or mystery. A hunt? What?
Huh.
It's a timeline that splits in 2 on day 25. One of them you don't remember yet. We're forced to participate in a killing game called the Invader Hunt. I call that branch the Hunt timeline. I see. Everyone else calls it the killing game timeline. The other branch, you should remember. It's the one where Gaku was killed on day 5, and Kako's body was found on day 27. Was Gaku the person you were trying to revive in the using the revive-o-matic? You investigated the matter and figured out that it was Shoma who killed Kako. But then Shoma himself was killed. This time you pinned Ava as the culprit. After some trial and error, of course. But then she self-destructed and things only got worse from there. Yes. You were beset by a whole host of mysteries, but still did your best to solve them. That's why I call it mystery. That's why I call this branch the mystery timeline. The hunt and mystery timelines, huh?
Oh.
That's right. And this is the line that both of them split off from. So I combined the names together, making this the Hunt Mystery Timeline. And that's the one we went to. Yes, on day 5, just after midnight. But why did you want to go there anyway? I had 2 objectives. One was to prevent Gaku's death. The other was to do something about Omega. Wait. Omega? Who's that? Just for a moment, Hiruko hesitated. Omega is the one who killed Gaku. You mean X? Isn't that what the mastermind behind the murders in that timeline was called? No. X and Omega are different people. Omega had his brain infected with Gi data. bit me. There was no physical parasite there, but it was just the same as if he'd been taken over by one. That's what drove him to murder Gaku. Even if I hadn't dealt with him, he would have tried to kill again. That's why I went to that timeline, to remove the Gi data from Omega's brain. Those were my goals that night. Honestly, I still didn't get it. I waited for her to carry on, which is why she was trying to work with the Revivomatic, I think, as well.
Oh.
On day 4, you saw me and Sirei talking, yes? The thing he gave me that day was a cerebral glitch repair program. Okay. I assumed it was like the keys to the lab, but then I was like, Sirei's never really known about the existence of said lab, so why would he just give her the keys to it? Or rather, a thumb drive with the program loaded onto it. I couldn't have erased the Gi data without that. Why did Sirei even have something like that? That's a matter for another day. The important thing is that he handed it over. Once I had that program, I jumped to the Hunt Mystery timeline at midnight on day 5, just like you saw. Hiruko went on to tell me what happened after that, during the time I lost track of it. First of all, she went back to the school and rang Omega's doorbell. She hid on the dorm roof and waited for the murderer to come out. I remember that. She then dropped down and knocked him out with a strike to the back of the neck. With Omega unconscious, all that was left was to take him to the infirmary and run the repair program on her. But then the Gi data in his brain took over. He got up, grabbed Hiruko's arm, and threw her against the wall. That was the sound we heard. I was still down in the morgue at the time, freaking out over seeing Ato's body. Of course, now I realized that it was Ato from that timeline, not the one I knew. In that timeline, I must have decided to kill him on the night of day 2 and absorb his cryptoglobin, so it was only natural that his corpse would be there. It's nice to have it, reframed with context now. I had suspicions, but it always feels good to have actual confirmation. Anyway, that was when I heard the noise. Turns out, it was the sound of Hiruko crashing into the wall upstairs. When I went out into the corridor, I heard another noise. It must have been the infirmary door opening. That was when Omega got away from me. He must have realized there was someone else around and ran, and then you targeted me instead. Of course, I didn't actually see any of this. That blow against the wall knocked me out. And the next time you came to was when I was holding you. That's right. That's why I told you to stay put back at the lab so I wouldn't get you too confused. Then I kicked you in the stomach and tried to break that little matchstick you call a neck. But you tried to sound a little more sorry about that? I already apologized. You will not hear another one. Yeah, but you never told me why you did it. What do you mean? Haven't you figured it out yet? I had a bad feeling about this. A chill ran down my spine, and I broke out in goosebumps. You really are slow, Takumi. After you blacked out and I got a proper look at you, I noticed something. There was a purple rash on your face. That was one of the symptoms of leap damage. That's when I realized I'd made a mistake. So I released you and went to look for Omega instead. I knew where he'd be, the classroom on the first floor. From the way things played out before, he was bound to show up there eventually. I got there as fast as I could, but
I was too late.
Gaku was dead.
When I opened the door, I saw Gaku's body, covered in blood.
And because it was in the Hunt Mystery timeline, the drones and the Revivomatic do jack shit.
And standing above him was Omega, still waving around a kitchen knife.
Please, don't tell me. Was Omega?
I'm sorry, but it's true.
You are Omega. What a cool name.
Omega's true identity. The person with the Gi data in their brain. The one who killed Gaku.
Ta-da!
It was you, Takumi Sumino.
No, it's a lie. I won't believe it. I did it. I killed Gaku?
You sure did, buddy.
No, it can't be. That can't be true.
Oh no! We're crashing out! Oh man, I'm loving these montages of dead bodies everywhere. It was all me, baby. Thank you. I mean, I already knew that. Damn. We're getting a lot of explanations here. But you know what? I'm here for it.
This is the second time you've done this. I'm starting to get tired of it.
Well, I'm not. I like waking up to the side of you, Hiruko. Especially, you know, in that seat. That's where Nozomi usually sits.
Did I pass out back at the lab?
Yes. And I carried you all the way back. I'd say that makes us even for the whole accidental strangling incident.
Fine, I accept it.
It's fine. I can see why you did it now.
Right, okay. Good. Great, even. I like it.
You thought I was the me from that Hunt mystery timeline.
I sat up and got out of bed. I remembered about the other timelines I've experienced. You said that already. Back on day 2, yeah. But I remember more of them now. What do you remember exactly? Well, I hesitated. These weren't memories I particularly wanted to dredge up again. It wasn't the Hunt mystery this time, was it? You remembered the serial killer timeline, didn't you? Yeah. We remembered that Yugamu definitely wasn't the killer. He was just a wannabe. The serial killer timeline. Didn't take a genius to figure out which one she meant. Except the killer wasn't Yugamu. It was me. In that timeline, I killed Ava. Then Moko. And Takemaru, and Kurata, and Shoma on the toilet, then Darumi in the pool, Iman Kako, all of them. I even relayed how I did it, all to Hiruko before she kissed me. Everyone. All my friends. And in the end, even Nozomi. I started shivering uncontrollably. I felt off balance, like I might collapse any minute. Are you alright? I wasn't alright, not even a little. But I put my hand on my chest and forced myself to take some deep breaths.
Oh?
You were probably repressing those memories until now. As a self-defense mechanism. You sealed them away in a corner of your mind, without even being aware of it. That's why I likened your mind to a steel shell before. But I guess you really are as fragile as a salmon roe after all. Yeah, well, do you have a timeline where you killed everyone? No. The one that you did, when you were a zombie, you don't even remember yourself. I wasn't paying attention to what Hiruko was saying. The only thing I could hear clearly was my own raging heartbeat. This might sound like an empty platitude, but I assure you, I say it as someone with 40 years worth of experience. Don't beat yourself up over this. It's not your fault. You aren't the same person who did those horrible things. The one who killed Gaku on day 5 was the Hunt Mystery Takumi, and he was already corrupted in the first place with the Gi. Phantom Gi, I should say, in his mind. Likewise, the Takumi in the serial killer timeline was someone completely different from who you are now. And even with those other versions of you, it was really the Gi data in their brains that made them act that way. They weren't in control of themselves. You don't have to bear the responsibility for their crimes. My breathing finally started to slow down. I wiped away the cold sweat that had formed on my head. Hey, if we have to believe the existence of multiverses and the unlimited potential of them, we truly are capable of anything, aren't we? What is this Gi data anyway? And how did it get into my brain? I didn't know either, until last night when you told me about the zombie outbreak. In that zombie timeline, you were infected on day 100. The Alpha 1 Gi Queen laid an egg inside you. That egg then hatched into another queen, which burrowed its way into your brain and fused with you on a cellular level. Okay, but right after that the final attack began and... Yeah, we've seen this one before. I will skip it.
Ugh.
Your consciousness didn't just disappear at the end of that timeline. It was brought back to the start of the loop on day 2. Well, how does that work? Along with all your memories. Our memories persist across timelines, so they must exist in our brains as some kind of cognitive data. And in this case, that data included the presence of the Gi. The parasite itself didn't travel back in time with you, but it had merged with you so completely that it was already part of your consciousness when you came back. But isn't that going to be a problem? Does that mean my brain still has that data in it even now? Especially if I'm remembering that timeline. Don't worry about it. It won't take you over again. The version of you that's here now has already been treated. What? Treated?
Oh.
This is a timeline from after you successfully had the Gi data removed. How? Why? When? There are timelines like that? Trust me, a lot can happen over the course of 146 loops. Okay, so why didn't you cure that Omega? Oh, right, because he overpowered you, I guess. I meant to tell you yesterday, but Omega, the you in the Hunt Mystery Timeline, has been treated now too. In fact, he's smarter than ever. He knows all sorts of scientific shit. Huh? You remember I said I walked in on Omega, killing Gaku in the first floor classroom? Before he could escape again, I ran up to him and injected him with an anesthetic I got from the infirmary. A few seconds later, he was out cold. I hoisted him onto my back and carried him upstairs. Back in the infirmary, I put him into one of those recovery drones and got to work. I still had the repair program Sirei gave me. I installed it into the Revivomatic and used it to erase the Gi data from Omega. You saw me doing that, didn't you? Oh, right, I did. You asked me who was in the machine before. Well, it was you. The Hunt Mystery version of you.
Oh.
At any rate, the treatment was a success. The Gi data was completely removed from Omega's brain. The Takumis in both the Hunt and Mystery timelines that branch off from there will be fine too. We won't have to worry about them hurting or killing anyone now. That explains why it's never a problem. Then again, it's never a problem in the comedy route either. The slasher. So, how did you treat me in the comedy route? Do you have the name for that? Since you got, I call this the Hunt Mystery route. You know, there's the Hunt, there's the Killing Game Invader Hunt, then there's the Mystery. Did she see what happens in the comedy route? She's like, you know, I'm just gonna label this one the comedy route because it's pretty funny.
Huh?
That's good, but what did you do with that me after you finished treating it? I took him back to his room and put him in bed. Not unlike what I did with you last night.
Oh.
Then I went back to the infirmary and slapped you around until you came to. I'm assuming you remember that. Yeah, I also remember you saying I couldn't save him. Now you've told me all this, I can see you meant Gaku. Hiruko's expression clouded over. She gave a little nod, her brows knitted together in sorrow and frustration. Come on, don't be like that. This is all my fault anyway. Besides, you're the one who said don't beat yourself up over it. I was the one who killed that version of Gaku. And everyone else. The serial killer timeline too. How many times are you going to make me repeat myself? That wasn't your fault. It was nice of Hiruko to say that, but it didn't do any good. I still felt like I was caught in a dark, sludgy whirlpool that was dragging me down, threatening to swallow me whole. What am I gonna do with you? Remember your promise. Don't let the truth destroy you. I had a feeling you'd react like this. That's why I was keeping it from you. I just knew you'd end up feeling like you were responsible for the whole thing. I wanted these thoughts to go away. I wanted it all to stop. It took everything I had to croak out my next words. Sorry. But I'd like to be alone for a while. Hiruko sighed again, shaking her head in bewilderment. But she left all the same. Cold silence fell over the room. I could have sworn I heard a heavy, rumbling gurgling up from somewhere deep beneath the ground. It sounded like the agonized groans of everyone who died because of me. I dropped to the floor, covered my ears, and closed my eyes. Ugh. Rough. Rough stuff. But a battle tomorrow on day 15. We need to get our shit together, Takumi. Has she got anything else left to say? Or are we going to be isolating ourselves? My head was completely empty. I didn't want to do anything, or think about anything, or even breathe, really. I just sat there in the corner of my room. I hugged my knees and curled up tight, wishing I could disappear while time continued to flow around me. I could hear voices outside, my friends, chatting and laughing. The sound cut into me like a knife. In another timeline, I'd been the one to steal that laughter from them. Forever. At some point, my room started to get dark. The sun must be going down outside. Darkness seemed to trickle in until it filled the space completely. Lying there in the same position for so long, I'd lost all sensation, all awareness of my body. It didn't even feel like my body anymore. It was like my soul had come loose, and I was staring down at my physical form from above. My visitor came in a little after that. How long are you going to stay like this?
Oh?
Everyone's worried about you. They think you're sick. Well, I told them you were anyway. I am sick. Sick in the head! I couldn't exactly tell them you were feeling guilty about things another version of you did in an alternate reality. What do you want, Hiruko?
Oh.
I'm not here because I want to be. The others just sent me to ask you something. Ask me what? Tomorrow's day 15. That means there's another attack coming. They wanted to know if you'll be joining the battle.
Oh.
Or are you going to abandon them?
Ugh.
Are you going to betray them?
Tuh.
Do you just not care if they all get killed? They've already been killed! I killed them myself! All of them, one after another! All of them, dead! Because of me! So I just can't! I can't do this anymore! I don't care! Just let whatever happens happen. I really can't do anything. Hiruko continued to stare at me, but there was a different look in her eyes now. There was no pity there, only contempt. When she spoke, her voice sounded hoarse, like she was holding back some strong emotion. I'm disappointed in you. Did what you told me on day 10 mean nothing? You told me we could make the future we deserve together. What happened to all of us reaching day 100 with a smile? Hearing that is what convinced me to tell you everything. I felt like this timeline could be different. It was the first time in 146 loops anyone's ever said anything like that to me. I really thought there was something special about this timeline. About you. I thought you might be the one to finally break us out of this never-ending hell.
Oh.
And now you're giving up? Just like that? How could you? She clenched her fist. Uh-oh. Oh god. The look in her eyes had changed again. Now she was glaring at me with pure, undisguised animosity.
Huh?
You weakling! You sniveling coward! You think you get to give up and mope around for the rest of your life? Who do you think you are, Osamu Dazai? No, you're worse than that. You're like a mech pilot going crazy from being synced with its navigation system. Or a Pozure emo fangirl bandaging her wrists just to fit in. Wow, this is pretty harsh stuff.
Oh.
The you that killed everyone was a completely different person in a different timeline. And he wasn't even in control when he did it. Get a hold of yourself already.
Oh.
Don't you realize how much danger you're putting everyone in by wallowing like this? If anything is going to get them killed, it's your own negativity and self-loathing. You're sure as hell not going to protect anyone the way you are now. If you're going to allow others to protect you while doing nothing in return, you might as well be signing their death warrants yourself. You're going to get everyone killed, and you're doing it of your own free will this time. That's a complete betrayal of everything you believe in. What happened to all of us reaching day 100 with a smile? What happened to creating a future where we could all be happy? I've tried everything I can think of, and nothing's worked. I can't do this alone. I need your help. You, Takumi Sabino, you're the only one who can save us. For a moment, neither of us said anything. Hiruko's shoulders were shaking and she was breathing heavily. Her quick, shallow panting was the only thing breaking the silence. But eventually, even that sound became quieter. Whew. Man, I felt emotionally charged venting out like that. Like, that's hard. Like, when someone's shut, like, I've had a couple of friends that have, like, completely shut down in the past. I mean, not because they killed people or anything of the sort, but, just, like, in general, just, they've hit rock bottom. And sometimes it is tempting to go, what the fuck, man? Get your shit together and all that stuff. And, sometimes I really do want to just belt it out like that, but I know better. But sometimes it is their wake-up call, Sometimes they just need to be shocked into hearing the truth. I guess that's it. I can't count on you for anything. Not in this loop. Or the next, or the one after that. Never again. Hiruko turned and left the room. While she was talking, something had started to well up inside me. Now a wild, raging energy was surging through me. I couldn't let it end like this. I didn't know what I was going to do. But this feeling inside me was getting stronger. And it had to go somewhere. The window? The mirror? Before I knew what I was doing, I got to my feet and rushed at the door. Hiruko, wait! She turned around. She looked so sad, so tired. But I looked her dead in the eye and let everything I was feeling come pouring out. I didn't mean what I said back then, and I still feel the same. I want to create a future where we can all be happy. Not just for day 100, but day 101, day 102, and all the days after. Right now, I want that more than ever. These memories, this knowledge of the other timelines, they've just shown me just how important that is. So I'll fight. Not just against the invaders, or my own weakness, but an enemy even greater than that too. I'll fight the cruel destiny that's been pushed onto us. A light breeze blew across the roof, ruffling Hiruko's hair. She tucked a stray lock behind her ear and spoke, looking just a little more hopeful than before. What are our chances of pulling that off? Isn't it obvious? I have absolutely no idea. What? The future is an open book. That's how it's always been. And I want to create a totally new future. There's no telling what might happen. But even so, I'll still fight. I'll fight with everything I have. I'll fight to protect you and the others and to create a future where no one has to die. You and I are getting out of this loop.
Let's reach out and grab our future. I won't let it stay out of reach anymore.
I raised my arm and extended it toward the satellite like I'm making a spirit bomb. Hiruko did the same. It was still hundreds of thousands of miles away, solemnly shimmering in the night sky, but somehow...
Just reach out and grab it, huh?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Both of us? Together?
Together. Our hands intertwined.
That's right.
You really think we can do it?
I don't know. But I'll do anything to make it happen.
Anything?
Anything.
Yeah.
With the unlimited parallel universes, anything's possible.
You did say anything.
Anything.
Yeah, I did.
Don't challenge it. Hiruko let her hand drop to her side.
Oh.
Alright, in that case, starting tomorrow, you're going to be my servant. You can only talk in barks and woofs. What? You said you'd do anything. Naturally, that includes being my slave, doesn't it? I mean, I'd do it. Hold on, that's not exactly what I meant. I'll be counting on you to get me out of this loop. Yeah, of course, but the servant thing is... Silence. I'm tired and I'm going to bed. I need to rest up for the battle tomorrow.
Oh.
Well, good night. She gave me a wicked grin before going back to her room. As I watched her go, I noticed a newfound spring in her step. Great. I, on the other hand, suddenly felt uneasy. I doubted I'd sleep well tonight. Well, you better, because we might be sharing a kennel with Darumi. Sooner rather than later. At this rate,